Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. I do have to say this today is a worldwide presentation because our guest today is, I believe it's Marlene Andersson. Is that correct, my dear?
That is very correct, sir.
Oh, very good. And before we began, I asked her, because she's got a lovely little accent, I asked her where she was from or where she was currently. And she's in, of all places, Kuwait. And I don't even have any idea why you would be there. But you're there, and it's important, I think, maybe. Kind of.
It does have a tweak to the story for sure. Obviously, I'm not from Kuwait, as you can clearly see.
Yes.
I have a Swedish accent, and that's where I'm from. And for some reason, I went from the north, where it's cold, to some of the hottest places on earth. But, you know, sometimes fate has its turns and tails.
Yes, indeed. By the way, the opening that I play, the music, Tom Tika, who is also from Sweden, created that for me.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I love knowing a fellow Swede had a hand in this show. Now I feel even more at home just being here.
Well, awesome, because he is he's a musician and a songwriter and all that kind of stuff, and he's invited me to go to Sweden. I haven't made it there yet, but one of these days maybe I'll get there.
Oh, so maybe if I also extend an invitation, maybe you feel even more encouraged to come.
Yes, I don't have an overcoat that's heavy, though, because it's cold up there.
Well, not all the time. You can come in summer. It is beautiful.
That's what I understand. That's what he keeps telling me. So anyway, so we've got a great show for everybody today because we're going to talk about moms and women that I guess it would have to be a woman that became a mom. Would that be correct?
I think according to biology so far, yes. I think that's required.
You are delightful, by the way, and we may be joined by Brichelle a little bit later. I'm not sure, but I wanted to talk to you because the reality is the situations for moms is very difficult. They get to take care of everybody in the world except themselves.
Yeah, I think also it kind of became also a thing now for me, I don't like maybe this is go against the grain to say, but I don't agree with the saying that we can have it all. Because that is what we are told. And I do agree to a certain extent that, yes, we can have it all. Like, we deserve to follow our path, our passion. So if you want a career as a mother, of course you can pursue a career. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, of course you can follow your heart and do that. But we are almost told, like, to be a successful mother and a successful woman, we should do it all. We should have a career. We should have an Instagram-worthy perfect family. We should take vacations. We should do self-care as if we have nothing else to do. And, you know, all these, we should have a thriving social life. We should juggle it all to perfection. And setting those expectations, that is making it very difficult for mothers.
That really sounds exhausting, doesn't it?
Yeah, just saying those things, just making the list was exhausting.
Yeah, I know, because until somebody figures out how to make more than 24 hours in a day, I don't see how anybody can, do it all. Work 8 hours a day, come home and take care of the kids and cook everything, take care of the husband if there's one around, and all of that. I don't know. And then to have time for yourself. That's got to be really hard.
Yeah, of course. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, as I put on myself also as a mother, is, as I said, the expectation that I want to do it all because I enjoy working. I enjoy being with my family. It's like, of course, I also enjoy taking care of myself somewhere in the middle of all this. But I put the expectation that I should be able to do it all at a very, very high standard, 24/7. But, then I learned motherhood is not so much, a balance that you do. You have a perfect balance with everything. It's more like a dance. And sometimes it's a tango when you step on your own toes, and sometimes, it's something more graceful. But it's that some things sometimes you do really well with work, and then things will take a hit at home. And sometimes you have things coming up at home and you pour more energy into that, and then maybe you don't have the same energy to show up at work. So it's like a wave and dance. It's not that perfect straight A strategy that we think that we can perform like at our highest level and everything all the time.
Well, and then there is the unknown factor, which is the children, the little ones that have got their own set of needs, their own set of wants and desires, and that sometimes, especially in like the job situation, doesn't necessarily work when it's like, I have to stay home because my kid is sick. But you can't. We have a meeting today and you have got to be at that meeting. Well, what do I do then? And so it becomes a push-pull kind of existence to try and balance everything and to make it all work. And you have got a website, and it's called Mighty Moms. Would you give everybody the website address so that they can follow along?
So yeah, let me see. So I memorize. I'm so bad with memorizing my own website. How's that for something?
How about the dash mighty dash moms dot mn.co? Is that right?
That is the one. You took the words out of my mouth.
Let me give that again. The dash mighty dash moms mn.co is, what does MN stand for?
MN, it's the platform it's on, which is called Mighty Networks. So that's the just abbreviation for that.
Oh, see, now that worked out well, didn't it?
Everything is mighty, the network and the moms we're building or creating.
Oh, that is awesome. So when they go to that website, what are they going to find?
What they find is, first of all, a community of mothers that are on the same path, because usually or very often you can find yourself feeling quite alone. And it's so easy for anything when we go through a struggle or a hard time, it feels like we are the only one who's feeling like this. It's something wrong with us. Why me? These kind of feelings just pop up in the overwhelm. So there you have a community of mothers that are somewhere on the same journey as you. They might be further behind or further ahead, but they're doing it together. So that's one thing. And then you have me, of course, there. So I'm the coach, the listening ear, the one you can ask questions for, the one that always try to stay a couple of chapters ahead of you so I can answer questions for you. And trust me, I've probably done a lot of the mistakes that you've been doing. And there is where I have my free community. You have some recipes, because we all have no clue what to make for dinner or for lunch. So that can be quite nice inspiration to have what to make for that. podcast episodes. So this one will, for example, be forever there for mothers to listen and learn. And of course, other interviews and such. And also I have a paid community for those who are ready to really take the next step and get that extra support. It's a paid community where you have all the things laid out for you. You have a step-by-step guide of how to take care of yourself from A to Z. And it's very simple. It's very straightforward because I'm a mom myself. We don't have a lot of time. So it's not going to be something we spend 2 hours sitting and researching and watching a video. It's going to be 10, 15 minutes a day that you can spend just for you and start building a routine that will make you feel happy about your body, about your progress, about your life, and finally start feeling like self-care is not a luxury anymore. It actually can become a daily possibility.
Well, for those of you that don't happen to be a woman, but you know a woman, and there's an added thing that women have to do that guys don't have to do. As an example, I take a shower, I comb my hair, takes 2 seconds, and I'm done. But my associate Rochelle, she's got hair that goes down almost to her waist. And so when she takes a shower and then she uses the conditioners and all the stuff that she has to do, and then she has to comb it out, and then she has to put her eyelashes in, and I don't know why she's got beautiful eyes, but I don't know why she does that, but that's what they do. And so you guys have got an hour, a half hour or an hour extra just to make yourself look the way that you would like to present yourself to the public. Is that fair?
Do you think it's a fair description, or that it's fair of us to do that?
Is that a fair description? Because I don't think it's fair for you to have to do that. But that's the societal, thing is like, oh, she's at work, but she doesn't have her makeup on. What's the matter? She looked better yesterday. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a very fair idea of how we should be treating each other, but it is a societal norm, isn't it?
I do believe it is. I don't know really sure where it's coming from or how it's become exaggerated, but you're really touching on something that is kind of part of what's getting in the way for women in general, because we have this, as you said, like, even though you're a mom, I have all these extra responsibilities, I have less time, and still I need to present myself as if something never happened, or if something, I don't have this chaos in the background that is going on. And the sad reality is I had many of my friends, like my mom friends, and even from friends and relatives, they give birth and they meet these relatives or friends a few months later. And the question is like, oh, why aren't you thin yet? It's that.
That is so unfair.
It's really weird. Like when a woman is pregnant, we're the most valuable thing in the world. Even if she gains some extra weight, you're glowing, and look at her, she's carrying this baby, and it's a beautiful thing that's happening. But as soon as that baby is out, it's just like, why aren't you back to where you used to be? Exactly like you used to be. It's not, I don't know where this weird notion came from that women shouldn't change after giving birth, when this is literally a transition into something new. It's entering matrescence. You're physically changing, you're mentally, emotionally rewired forever. And yet you should look the same and act the same and be the same. And I'm not sure. It's like asking your Nokia, whatever, it used to be like an Apple, a new iPhone, 18 or whatever it's on now.
And to be something that you're absolutely not. And by the way, I was married at one time and we had a couple of children, and I've seen firsthand what happens to the female body? First of all, I have to tell you, if men were responsible for making babies, there wouldn't be any babies born, because we'd be crying like a little boy in the corner, because it is life changing, the amount of changes that happen with the female body. It's like, doesn't that hurt? Just watching them grow like that, and then they're lying down, and you see their stomach go, whoa, and then because the baby's moving, and it's like, good Lord, there's something alive in there, and and being just a simple guy, we don't get it, and then to turn around and say, oh, but you gained 10 pounds of baby weight, and you should have lost. And I don't know why they call it baby weight, because you you eat and you gain a little bit of weight, and that's just kind of the way it goes. But you can't do it and then be magic. Now, some people metabolism wise can do it, but why do we put such a negative connotation on people that have a struggle with getting back to their pre-baby weight right away? I mean, doesn't it take time?
Yeah, of course, everybody is different, and everybody carry their babies differently. Some women will gain 20 pounds, some women will gain 50 pounds, because that is just how their body responds, and that's what it's needed to do. It's not that one woman is specifically overeating or binging because she's eating for two, because that's also, the baby wants this, the baby wants that, but it's usually not women who does that. I actually stopped women that I worked with, because they get pregnant and then they get scared of gaining weight because of just these societal norms, like, oh, don't get too fat, it's gonna be too hard to lose it, and you're not gonna and they want to diet while they're pregnant, and I had to literally stop them, like, please, this is not the time to deplete your body from resources, because you're gonna need it, the baby's gonna need it, as long as you're eating in a good way. You're going to be fine, and let your body do its thing. It's way smarter than we are. It knows what it's doing.
Oh, exactly. And then you've got the husband, and nobody says, you gained some weight while she was pregnant because you have sympathetic eating disorder or whatever it is. But nobody says, why haven't you lost your wife's baby weight? Because you've gained 20 pounds too. Nobody talks to the guys like that, which is really not very fair.
No, as we circling back to what you had a bit about, we need to doll ourselves up. We need to look good and from the outside. And it kind of goes back to that. I think the difference between men and women, we have men, they want to live up to, it's about status, it's about titles. That's what makes a man feel valuable. I don't know how to say it in a better way, but it's
that's pretty good. That's pretty true right there. That's really true. Go ahead.
And for women, we have that we feel judged on, I should actually feel judged. Men will feel judged on their power and titles, and women feel more judged of their appearance, how long we look young, how much we live up to the current societal norms of what a beautiful woman looks like. Because the ironic thing is that keeps changing all the time. Sometimes you should have curves, or you should be thin, and then you should have curves and be super thin, because you need to have a thin waist. It's like looking like a Barbie doll, or it goes all the way. So it's different countries have different standards. It's just, what are we aiming for? Nobody knows.
Well, and at one time there was a model, and I got to take a break, but there was a model named Twiggy. I don't know if you know who that would be, but she was painfully thin, but she was one of the top models, because in those days that's what they valued was so women starve themselves to try and get to Twiggy size, and because of how they're built and the biology, that just wasn't going to happen. So, by the way, we're talking with Marlene Andersson, and we're going to talk more about being a mighty mom when we come right back from this break. Stay with us, everybody.
You became a real estate agent for freedom, success, and real momentum. So why are you still stuck waiting for closings to save you? I'm Ophir Adar, founder of Real Momentum, and I help agents like you become seven-figure earners. My first client that I coached, brand new agent, made $250,000 back in 2006. What's the secret? You feed your white wolf. That's the part of you that's bold and unstoppable and a closer and able to build rapport quickly. So click Get Listings at Real Momentum and let's unleash your real estate potential.
And welcome back and this is again Tommy Tika from Sweden. And welcome back to the show, everybody. Marlene Andersson is with us, and she has a website, and she's got a business, and she helps people. She coaches women who happen to be moms. Because, Marlene, I got to ask you, isn't there a difference between women who have not had children yet and women who have had children and become a mom? Do they understand each other the way that you think that they might, or do you need to go through the experience of being a mom to understand being a mom?
I think in a way, women can very much relate to each other, even though they haven't had children. Because I meet a lot of moms that I actually also, not a lot of moms, women that I work with, and they are caretakers, not necessarily for their own children, but for other people. They have that kind of caring nature. So they overextend themselves. They want to make everybody else happy. They take care, like I say, they take care of like a partner. Maybe they have extended family. They take care, they are doctors or they are nurses. They are the kind of people that give of themselves a lot at the expense of themselves. And so that is something I feel like it's a commonality among women, not just mothers.
And it seems to be like a worldwide societal thing that women need to be a certain way, look a certain way, act a certain way, and be able to do it all so that everybody is happy. And then at the end of the night, they fall asleep totally exhausted because they can't do anything else.
Yeah, I think as women, we are more naturally nurturing. So it is in our nature to give and to take care and keep people safe. And it's when it almost becomes toxic when we get down that route, for two reasons. When you become the mother, it's so easy to lose yourself, right? That we've been this individual, and all of a sudden, like I felt that to a certain way when I had my son. It's so easy to fall into, now I need to take care of him. I need to do everything for him. And they always come first. But then you forget that he's like an extension of me. Especially when they're young, you're like a unit. It's not like almost like you're not two separate people. So if I ignore one part of the unit and doesn't let that part recharge and also feel cared for, the entire unit breaks down. I can't just take care of the back wheels of the car. I need to also make sure the front is working. Otherwise, we're not going to go anywhere. And it's so easy to forget that because you just go into the role of the caretaker, the role of being a good mom, whatever that means to most of us. And usually that means I come last. That is somehow wired into you. I even remember a story from when I was younger that I probably was like 18, 19, 20. And someone said to me, like, just make sure that you do everything you want to do first. Make sure you get your education, make sure you get your job, make sure you tick things off your bucket list, because once you have children, it's all about them. It's not about you anymore. And that was scary as heck to have that told you, like, oh my God, because also that kind of delays your planning of having children, because, I can't have children until I ticked off all the things in my list. What if I want to have children early? What if can't I do it all at once? Do I need to, split it up or things like that? But thankfully, I had a mentor of mine. I actually worked as a strength and conditioning coach at a national soccer club. So it's like Real Madrid, but Swedish version kind of thing. And this man, he had a Swedish wife. So he moved from New Zealand to Sweden. And then they had one child. And then he got another job, and they all moved to Norway. They had a second child. And then they moved from Norway to Qatar, which is actually close to me here in the Middle East.
Yeah.
They had a third child. And that was just very empowering for me, actually, because him and his wife, they moved their careers and they expanded their family as it see fit. It wasn't an obstacle. And they didn't compartmentalize it that you need to all do all these things first, and then you can actually do things for yourself. Like, no, they nurtured their relationship, their careers, and they had a family. And that was just amazing for me to see at that point.
That is something. And I wanted to bring this up because I don't know if it's a thing or not, but I've heard this. And that is that, a woman spends all day, especially a mom, taking care of the kids. If she has a job, it's either a part-time or a full-time job. And then she cooks for everybody, and then she cleans for everybody, because there's that lump of a dude that likes to sit on the couch and watch sports and drink a couple of beers because he worked hard all day, and so he wants his time. And so she cleans up, she makes dinner and then cleans it up and stuff like that, and then she has to contend with him and his needs over and above children and what happens there, and then trying to take care of him to make him happy. That's got to be a really thankless job.
Yeah, if you're in that kind of relationship, for sure, like, I really do hope that not every woman and mother are having that kind of support system, which, because it is a team effort, right? We're like, I'm a parent, you're also a parent, and especially like whether you're working as a mother, that you're away from home and working, or you're a stay-at-home mom, because that is a job, whether people want to recognize it. Just because it doesn't bring in a specific paycheck, it's a job to do that. And I think that's something that couples really need to have a discussion about before you have children, because what will it look like? Because really, if that is what's going to happen, you as the woman, you want to have that discussion before it's going to happen, because otherwise you are going to run yourself to the ground. It's that you really have a partner that is on board, that yes, we both are working, like in some way, shape or form. We are both parents. It's a team effort. We, it's divide and conquer. We can do it by ourselves. And I think a lot of people miss that conversation. What are the expectations of when we become a mom? So just to discuss with your partner, what are my expectations of myself as a mother? What do I see myself doing? What do I need help with? What do I want that to look like? And what are my responsibilities or role as a wife in this new phase of our life? Because it looks very different when you have a child or children involved. And the same as a husband. Like, what do I expect of you as a husband? And of course, he's going to have the opposite. Like, what do I see myself doing as a father? Am I going to change poopy diapers, or do I absolutely refuse to do that? Where do we draw the line of our responsibilities, and be very, very honest with each other about what that looks like. You don't like what it looks like, either you compromise, or maybe that's going to be a really tough going forward.
Well, I'm just remembering back, and I really tried, but there are substances that come out of a child that are beyond my ability to handle or understand. Because, the other thing is, I was a restaurant manager, and so I worked 10 hours a day. I left the house at 8 o'clock in the morning and didn't get back till 7:30 at night. And she'd been with the children or with the child all day long. And by the way, she's also at that time, she is the lunch wagon as well and so she was not able to get any relaxation because these children, I don't know what the deal is, but they eat every 2 hours. And so she would try and nap with the kid and then wake up, and then she had to feed him and stuff. And that goes 24/7. And so when I would come home and the child was still awake, my job was to then take over the care of the child as best I could. Obviously, I couldn't feed him if she was breastfeeding, but I put him to sleep, put him to bed, let her go to bed early, because she was going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was going to bring child to her, and so that he could eat and stuff like that. And then changing the diaper, like I said, there's some remarkable things and smells that come out of a child when they are that little. And I didn't do well at that, but I did my best. I tried really hard, but there were days when it was like, help me, I can't do this. This is terrible and stuff. So, but we worked it out, but isn't that a good marriage, that you understand and you have compassion for what's going on with the other person, so that you can help them rather than just say, you're the woman, you're supposed to handle all this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, it's hard to explain what you're going through as a mom. You just feel extremely overwhelmed. As you said, all these bodily changes, and especially in the early days, hormones are going all over the place. You gave birth to the most unpredictable alarm clock in the world, and you don't know what's going on. It's just, I even just had this discussion with my husband the other day, because he said something, I thought it was very cute. He said, but it's soon the weekend, so we can actually sleep in, because I had a couple of nights of bad sleep, because our son he's turning 4 soon, and he had this thing that he wakes up in the middle of the night and wants to chat for some reason. Well, absolutely nothing.
and by the way, we're talking with Marlene Andersson. We need to take our halftime break, and we're going to come back with more. And a 4-year-old has got the most interesting things to say, I must say. So we'll be right back, and we're going to give you the website again. I want you to go there, because she's delightful, and she is very empathetic, and she's got a community. And what you need as a mom more than anything else is a community of other moms that you can talk about things and maybe give ideas and tips on how to take care of each other and themselves a little bit better. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America. to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Marlene Andersson is with us, and you can please go to our website, which is the-mighty-moms mn.co, and you can find out all about her, and you can join the group. And because unless you're a mom, you don't really have the experience of being a mom, so you have no earthly idea what somebody else is going through unless you're going through it yourself. And so it really helps, doesn't it, to have somebody there who can say, oh yeah, that happened to me, I remember that. Oh, have you tried this? That kind of thing. Is that a good example of how the community works?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot just finding, almost realizing there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because sometimes it feels like you're in the middle of all this and it's like it's never going to end. And for me, it's a lot about learning just like these really simple, small things of how you can take care of yourself. Because all of a sudden, when we have all this extra responsibility, all these extra tasks that runs in 500 miles an hour in your brain 24/7, and taking care of yourself just feels like utopia. It's just a fantasy at this point. But it doesn't because all I know for myself, I used to be a highly competitive CrossFit athlete. So I used to compete. I used to train 10 to 15 hours a week. I have my perfect schedule, my perfect structure, everything perfectly laid out. And I knew how to stay fit and healthy and eat well and sleep well within those parameters. And I can just say those parameters did not work when I became a mom. And it frustrated the life out of me, because I tried to use the same framework as I used to do, because this is what I knew worked. So of course I want to use a strategy I know works. But all of a sudden, the sport of motherhood have different rules than the sport of CrossFit. So it was like I was playing Monopoly, but I was trying to win at Scrabble. It just wasn't going to match whatever I tried to get out of this. And I just learned that it needs to be a different way. And I want that for other mothers as well, that self-care is not this elusive luxury. It doesn't need to be an hour-long spa massage sessions and sleeping 9 hours to feel like a human being. We can actually do much simpler things that are actually actionable in this new reality of chaos and nappies. And we can make it happen, and we can actually feel a lot better, so we don't get caught in, as I said, losing ourselves and being burnt out and being overwhelmed. So we can actually get ahead of it and start feeling like ourselves way before the kids start college. We can start before that. It's okay.
From my experience, one of the really interesting things was, when you are a brand new mom, nobody teaches you how to do simple things like breastfeed. And so my wife had to go through this, and my number 2 son, it was a massive sucker, and he could really clamp on and so what was happening was she was getting sore because he was a really good sucker, but nobody had told her that there's a device that you can use, which is why it's really helpful if you have other moms around that have been through the same things, because they can say, oh, honey, no, what you got to do is you go get this thing and you put it over that thing, and then that will protect your nipple from the child and his super suckingness. And is that even a word? Super suckingness? Maybe. And
It should
stuff.
be.
So
It should be.
it's but that's one of the simple things that nobody really talks about, because it apparently doesn't cross anybody's mind until somebody's in that situation. Have you run into similar situations like that, where moms in your groups will say, oh yeah, that happened to me and this is what we did and that worked, and they can work together for the betterment of everybody? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, as you said, you can actually share experiences because, as I said, someone has probably been through it or done the same mistake or heard someone else that it's just, as I said, you don't have to make all the mistakes. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. But also, it's so interesting what you touched on with, as I said, nobody teaches you how to be a parent. It's one of the hardest things we're going to do. And there's absolutely no handbook. We're all flying blind, winging it from day to day, week to week. I used to feel so proud sometimes, especially when they're infants and you finally figured out how to get them to sleep without it taking hours. And you just like, if I just shake him this way and I place him down this way, shake the mattress a little bit and then slide this hand out first, and then, you just have this whole sequence you go through, and then army crawl yourself out of the room to make sure they don't wake up. And you're so proud, like, okay, now I got this parenting thing. Now we figured it out. Come a week later, everything changes, and whatever you did that was working is not working anymore. So nobody teaches us this, how to parent, but also nobody teaches mothers how to take care of themselves. We can read books about how to breastfeed. We can read books about all different parenting strategies, about sleep training, about how to start solid foods. We have all these different things that we're going to dive into. We have a library because we want to be the best mother there is. But where is the book about how I take care of me among all this chaos? That book does not exist. Where is it? That's the one I need. And because for me to be able to handle all this, that I have this stack of books that I need to go through, I need to be able to have something in the tank, because otherwise I am just, cashing checks that I can't take. My bank account is empty and I try to write checks and that's not going to be accepted anymore.
Yeah, that is so true. And I was the youngest of three. And when my sister, who's the oldest, was born, it was take care of this and we were going to be great parents. And by the time they got to me, I was third in line. They were like, oh, who cares? Just let it go. And we'll be, he's going to survive.
Right now.
Exactly. He's going to survive. Put him in his crib, and if he cries for 2 hours, oh, well, that's just the way it goes. We'll go to sleep, and that, so, and parenting changes with the children. The first one, it's your new thing, and you're going to be the best parent in the world. By the time they got to me, as long as I didn't kill myself, they were okay with that.
We have a couple of spares there too.
That's right. And if necessary, if he can't make it, then we'll just make another one that looks just like him.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. The game changes with each upgrade, which with each child it adds a new level of difficulty and juggling skills for sure. It's a very different reality, but. I want to circle back also how you had with husbands helping out, because I do think, or I hope that most men try to do the best they can. And at the end of the day, also I used to be very much a perfectionist, it's either my way or that's every other way is the wrong way unless you do it my way.
Motherhood changed that in you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I was like, please. Do it any way you want, as long as I can lay and take a nap. I'm going to be unconscious, away from reality. You deal with it for the next 30 minutes. I am good. I'm not going to hyper control the situation. But it's so interesting also. It's us letting go a little bit of our control of being the mother, because I can sometimes feel it's a very weird back and forth. You have something and you want something different. So when my son, actually now he's a bit older, he's away from me for longer periods of time, and it's like, oh, it's nice, but then, oh, I want him to be with me. Or he's like, why does he want to be crawling all over me all the time? Get away from me. And then like, why are you having so much fun playing with this person? Like, you should just love to play with me. What's wrong with you? It's whatever it is. You're just like, if you're working, you want to be home with them. If you're home with them all the time, like, please just let me go to work and just switch off my brain and not hear mama every 3 seconds. So it's so different and I feel like we really need to ask our husbands or partners for help. And I think women have 2 things to this also. Just so you know, as men, we have 2 things we ask for. We will ask you for help and reach out and like, please help us, because we want to offload everything that's going on physically, mentally, emotionally. But then also we would love for you to, like I said, be compassionate and also look and expect a little bit what we might need help with, so we don't always have to ask. That is something very important for partners to pick up on, because that is also becomes kind of a burden. Like, oh my God, I need to ask him again. Like, I have this person, I need to ask him to pick up that sock again. Can't he just walk past it, pick it up without me asking? Even though you're so nice and helpful when we ask you, it's just, oh, why do I need to ask him all the time?
Well, and it's it's not like we forget when you ask us the first time, and we say, "Oh, okay, honey, I'll do that," and then the same situation comes up. It's not like we have amnesia that we can't remember what you said last time and what we need to do. There's a conscious thing that goes on. Do I pick up that sock or do I walk past it? I'm going to walk past it because I don't want to bend over and pick it up. And then I have to do something with it, and I don't want to do anything with it. And so I'll just, and it's crazy how we tend to forget as men, and to try and I mean, let's face it, we love our wives that we just had a baby with and made her go through all of that stuff that she went through, the pregnancy and all that, and postpartum and all that kind of stuff. And we need to be a lot more empathetic and helpful. And like, as an example, how about you learn how, if you don't know, if your mother as a man, if your mother did not teach you how to cook, then you need to learn how to cook so that it's not her responsibility. If you can't cook and she does it, you need to learn how to do dishes the way that she wants you to load the dishwasher, because which, by the way, I did not realize that loading the dishwasher was a thing, but it's a
system. We will restack it if you do it wrong.
That's exactly right. So you need to, before you have a baby, one of the things that I can tell you guys is you need to watch your wife load the dishwasher so that when it's time for you to help and to load it, you're loading it the way that she wants it, because there's no point in you loading it and then her opening the door and saying that's not right and then redoing what you just did. That doesn't make any sense, right?
And putting it next to the dishwasher doesn't count as help either. We want it inside the dishwasher. Just in the vicinity of the dishwasher doesn't count either as help. FYI.
You mean that is so funny. And that's what I put it in the kitchen. Isn't that good enough? And so we're talking with Marlene Andersson. She's delightful, by the way. And we need to take a real quick break. I want you to listen to this because Speaking of being kind, you can be kind to the people that you love, but listen to this. The strength of staying kind from your friends at Positive Talk Radio. Kindness is not weakness. It takes real strength to stay kind in a world that often rewards anger, ego, and control. Being kind means choosing to act from your values, not your wounds. It means showing grace even when no one's watching. But kindness doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean letting people take advantage of your time, your energy, or your peace. You can be kind and still say no. You have a soft heart with firm boundaries. The strongest people I know are the ones who choose compassion without losing themselves. They've been hurt. They've been tested. And still, they choose to love and lead and to lift others anyway. Kindness is not about pleasing everybody. It's about honoring who you are and how you treat others, even when it's hard. So stay kind, stay human, and stay strong. And always remember this, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. And welcome back to Positive Talk. We were having a great conversation with Marlene Andersson. Go to her website, please. And if you're a mom or you're a mom wannabe, or you're a dad who loves your wife and wants to learn how you can be a better father to or a husband to her, and not pretend like you're their father and just sit on the couch and stuff. the-mighty-moms.mn, yes, .mn.co, and go there and you can sign up for courses. She's a great coach. She's really empathetic, and she will help you do the mom thing and take care of yourself at the same time. That's a tall order, isn't it?
I know. I took on a pretty big task, but I believe it's possible because I see it happen.
So when are you going to write that book? Because that you're right, that book has not been written. You need to write that book about being able to do it all in a modified way. As an example, rather than if you have a child's playroom, rather than feeling like you've got to go straighten it up after the child gets done playing with it, shut the door. And then you don't have to look at it because it's just going to get messy again anyway. So anyway, but Marlene, it's great to have you here, and I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. I've enjoyed having you here.
Oh, absolutely. It has been a pleasure. It's been so much fun.
And I want you to, so we've got about 8 minutes left, and being that the mom thing is so complicated, I want you to tell the folks that are listening anything that you'd like them to know about being a mom, about what you do, and anything at all.
Anything at all. So if you were a mom, Kevin, what would you want to know?
What would I want to? I would want to know. Let's see. Now that's a hard question because I've never been a mom. I've watched moms and stuff, but how do you teach people to? Because like you said, before you were a mom, you were a CrossFitness trainer, and you were CrossFit, and you did all this, and you had a regimen, and you had a thing, and all of that went out the window when you became a mom. What's your advice to women that have a structure to their life, and this is what they do when they go here, and then they work, and then they do this, and then they have a baby, and that thing just throws everything off? How do you help them be okay with things changing because they're going to change?
They will. What I usually tell moms, like the first step is to realize that things will change, and they have changed, and there's no going back. which is doesn't need to mean it's a bad thing that we have changed. It's like we need to stop associating that you can't go back to your pre-baby self is a bad thing. Because to be honest, I am in my 40s now. My 20-year-old self, I would kick her butt. You know, I am better. I do not need to go back to that. It's like when you're at that age, you think you rule the world, you think you know everything, and then when you get to your 40s, you realize nobody knows anything. We're all winging it, and we're all doing okay. So I think that is this letting go of the expectation that you need to look exactly like you did to be a good person, to be a successful person, to succeed in motherhood, to get that medal of honor that you're doing a good job. So you don't need to look the same. You don't need to do things the same. It's all right. It's probably the way it needs to be. And just as you said with the bodies, going back to your pre-baby body, as you had with the story about Twiggy, certain people have different builds, different bodies. So we all can be a size 2 if we really wanted to, but not all of us are going to be a healthy size 2. We can maybe get there, but our bodies are going to scream malnourishment, and we're not going to be able to keep it. So that's why I always we need to focus on our health, health in terms of physical health, mental health, emotional health, because when we are healthy inside and out, our body will change accordingly without us even trying. And you will get the healthy body that you want, that is healthy for you. And you're going to look great and you're going to feel great.
And shouldn't you not have like when you were a 20-year-old and you were fit and you were running and you were doing that's the different person than when you were 40 years old and you had a child and maybe when you were 20 your hips were a little narrower and now they're not because you had this this bowling ball sitting there for 9 months and stuff and I would love to see our society celebrate motherhood and accept that your body is going to change. Your gravity has an impact as well. So just let it be and accept who you are. And I hope everybody is. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, absolutely too. Sorry to cut you off, but you reminded me of a story, as you said, I had a wedding I was going to go to maybe a few months ago. And I never go to weddings. I have a dress that I use for weddings because I don't go that often. Last time I wore it was before I got pregnant. So I thought, great, I'm going to put that on again. And it fits. I got it up and it got to my waist, but then it got to my ribs. And there was no way I was going to get that zipper past my waist without really having to get some skin in there, skin in the game, which I was not ready to give. Because as you said, my rib cage has forever widened. It is not going to go back and there was just such a powerful reminder that, yeah, my body has changed in more ways than I can probably notice, but that was very, very noticeable. And as I said, it's okay. And like, we need to stop listening to social media or all these celebrities that go straight back into their pre-baby body. They look amazing after they had their baby because that's their job, to look amazing on the red carpet. It's not my job who works as an accountant or as a cashier. It's not my job to look amazing on the red carpet.
And oh, by the way, they have a nanny and they have a housekeeper and they sometimes have a cook. And so they don't do it the way normal people do it. If that is their job to look just a certain way, well, they've got the resources to be able to make that happen. So give yourselves a break, ladies, and just accept some of the things. If the kid's room is a mess, close the door, because you don't need to worry about it and stuff. So Marlene, Andersson has been our guest, and I want to thank you so much for being here. You're delightful, and I hope people want to work with you. And go to her website again, which is the-mighty-moms.mn.co. And you can find that information. It'll be on the YouTube. It'll be everywhere so that you can help her or get help from her. Anything else you'd like to add before we go, my dear?
What can I add besides, first of all, of course, it has been absolutely delightful to speak to you, Kevin. Like I said, I need to re-extend my invitation to Sweden. You really need to, anytime in summer, you should bring your swimsuit and your best sandals and your favorite t-shirts and just come and visit. Definitely need to re-extend that. And yeah,
the swimsuit won't be in the suitcase, but maybe everything else might be.
But otherwise, yeah, I just hope there are any moms or moms-to-bes that found this conversation valuable. It's been a pleasure and a delight to be here. And I just hope that with or without my help, that when you become a mom, you can build a routine and a structure after you're like, when you have your baby, that will still make you feel happy and fulfilled, because you deserve that before you were a mom and as a mom, and you can do it.
And I got to tell you, there's nothing that is cool as when your 8-year-old child walks up to you and holds your hand because they want to. I had that, and then he turned 9, and it was like, don't touch me ever again. But that's the way that goes. Marlene Andersson, thank you so much for being here, and have an awesome day. And I hope everybody has a great day too. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin